How's it going, guys? And welcome to Out of Bounds, a simulcast version we're doing here. We're not just doing audio. We're not just doing the podcast, which we've done the past 2 times. I know some people have they've texted me or they've sent me tweets and say, "Hey, where's the video? I need the video because I watch it during dinner. I watch it during when I'm hanging out, just around the house. I like to see the visual to go along with the audio product." And I said, "All right." You know, we had some scheduling conflicts last week, but we're back at it like an absolute crack addict this week. We're going to jump right into it. I'm filming this. I usually film these Monday morning, actually, because Sunday's chock full of football, and, you know, they could run late. But this Sunday was wired after the Colts-Patriots game, which we will talk about very shortly. So I thought let's jump into it. So we're doing a late-night filming session, so that this video, the simulcast, and the podcast will be available first thing Monday at noonish. So we can pump it out there. But don't forget, guys, the easiest way to find this is to go to my website, jamesskrmetta.com. Every podcast, every simulcast, every video is on there. Look at my YouTube channel, subscribe, and of course, check us out on iTunes itself. Go to just search James Skrmetta, search Out of Bounds. Anything like that will pop up, download, subscribe, all that stuff, and you'll have us forever. Now let's get into the show here. I want to make it short. Don't want to keep you all too long. We got some great topics. We've got how I did the week of betting, which we're going to start off with. We got my new top 5 for college football. We got the MLS Minute. We are 1 week away from decision day, the final match until the MLS playoffs. And then I have a hot take for y'all that I've been working on all for weeks, actually. I've had this in the chamber for a few weeks here, and I'm excited to explore it with y'all. So if you're excited, I'm excited. Let's get into it. First off, let's start with how I did. Guys, I'm a little upset right now because this was one of those weeks. This is how gambling works, okay? If you don't know how gambling works, let me break it down to you. Vegas knows everything about everything. It's unbelievable how dead on the money they are. If I told you, hey, what's the score of Saints-Falcons going to be? And you just kind of came up with something, you know, like just kind of had a roundabout idea. These cats in Vegas, every week, every game, 95% of the time, they are within about 4 points of everything. Of the total, of the over-under, 4 yards for over-under and props. They are on the money, which can make for some incredibly stressful weekends if you just get in a situation where all the games are falling to a half point, all the games are falling to the last second, they're falling to the last play, there's some crazy stuff happening that's kind of screwing you over. And this week was one of those weeks where everything screwed me over. Every single thing screwed me over. I have been so stressed today watching football. Football's an easy day, lounging, eating food, drinking beer, doing whatever. I had a Bloody Mary, like a 40-ounce Bloody Mary. I've got indigestion. This isn't even hot milk, this is just hot Malox. This is just hot, this is like crushed up Tums. Because I have the indigestion from the Bloody Mary and the day full of watching these lines. But what happened was, well, we'll just start in college. All right, here we go. LSU Florida under, missed. What a game, though. What a game. Les Miles, I don't want to say he's a genius because the play shouldn't have worked. You know, if you watched it, the fake field goal, of course, if you watched it, they throw it, the kicker bobbling it up and down the field. How do you put a kicker in that situation? Like, hey, man, I know all you do is kick, but how about in this play with all the pressure in the world, how about you not only catch a pass, but how about you run it for, I don't know, give or take 30 yards with SEC defenders hawking you down. Oh, and by the way, if you don't catch it, everyone's going to hate you and want to kill you. And if you don't score, I'm going to want to kill you. Oh, and if you don't score, you're going to have to turn around and kick the field goal to win the game. So, hey man, welcome to Baton Rouge. Like, what? He decides to throw it? He decides to do a fake in that situation on a tie ball game? What a nut. A maniac, but it worked out. What a game for LSU. They're the real deal. Florida held Leonard Fournette to about 180 yards. Mediocre game to his standards. And to me, if a running back is going to win the Heisman, you can't pile up a bunch of 150-yard games, 160-yard games. He needs to keep doing these 200-something yard games, 230, 220, 220. He's got to keep piling those up when he gets the chance to. Otherwise, Seth Russell and people like that are going to sneak up on him. But what do I know, right? Then we had Michigan State +7. I knew the line was too big. I told y'all the line was too big. It's the Harbaugh effect. There was no reason. It just blew my mind that people were like, yeah, I can understand why Michigan, a team that was a 6-6 talent team last year, can compete. Not just compete, because they were, Michigan State was like the number 5 team in the nation, number 6 team in the nation. Michigan is number 12. It's like, well, Michigan could be a 1-point dog pick type game. A 7-point dog? I mean, a 7-point favorite? I told y'all Friday, that was a fishy line. I told y'all Friday, there's the Harbaugh effect. They're stealing money. Don't fall for it. We hammered Michigan State, the +7. Another incredible game. What a weekend of football. The Michigan State finish, the punter, I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. It's hard to describe it if you've never seen it because it's impossible to understand how that could happen. I'll do my best, though. 10 seconds left. Michigan's up by 2 on the 50. 4th and 4. They go to punt it. All the punter has to do is punt it away, fall on it, run around a little bit, punt it out of bounds, anything. Michigan State has no timeouts. The snap comes to him. It goes off of his hands. He had cement bricks on. The ball goes off of his hands, lands in front of him. Instead of falling on it, which would have gave Michigan State about 4 seconds for a 57-yard field goal, 55-yard field goal or something, he tries to pick it up and kick it, but he picks it up, flips it in the air about 6 yards, gets mollywopped from the backside, and then the Michigan State player grabs it and scores. He still has to run it 40 yards and scores. Scores as time expired. Michigan State wins. It's crazier than the kick six, the Alabama-Auburn. I'm sure y'all remember that game where Alabama kicked the field goal, the long field goal. Auburn got caught it, ran it, won it. It was way crazier than that because in that game they're going to overtime. So even if the Alabama-Auburn game didn't end right there, they still went to overtime. The only way Michigan State could have won this game was with what they did. Fact. Here's a little fact for you. Out of bounds fact. Michigan State won the game. They led or were tied for they led the game for 0 seconds. They won the game and never led. It's crazy to think about. But 2-1 in college ain't bad. It runs our total to 14-9. Now in the NFL, this is where it gets a little wacky. Bears. When I gave the pick to y'all, it was +3. The morning of the game, you could get it +3.5. When I got it the morning of, it was +3.5. The Bears won. The Bears lost by 3 in overtime because Jay Cutler was throwing pick sixes all over the place, and that was a kooky, crazy game. The Bears had everything under control, and what do? They screw it all up. We go to overtime. Overtime gets in a sticky situation. The Lions get on the 5. They could have probably scored, but they go for the field goal. So we got lucky. Only lost by 3. If you pushed, you pushed. If you won like I did, even better. But we did not lose. So I'm going to give us the check because no matter what, if you took the 3 or the 3.5, you were not losing money. So that's a stressful game, right? Stressful, sweaty game. Arizona -4 was the next pick. Flat out loss. I don't know what's going on with Arizona. I don't know what to tell you. You come here for answers. I understand that. I don't have the answers for this one. How is Michael Vick winning these games? He had -6 passing yards at the half. They took him out for Landry Jones. How are the Steelers winning? Write this down. I don't know if the Steelers can beat the Patriots, but when Ben Roethlisberger comes back, the Steelers they're going to be in that AFC Championship game, unless they play the Patriots in the first little bit there. But they are a dangerous team, and they're winning without Antonio Brown because he's relatively nothing with Landry Jones and Michael Vick. So When Roethlisberger comes back, that's going to be a dangerous, dangerous team. And Arizona has to figure it out. I don't know what's wrong with them. They were my pick. I mean, they were the pick of the NFC. Now they're losing games all over the shop. So I don't know what to think about them right now. Then we go Carolina +7, which I didn't expect them to win, but I expected it to be a close, gritty game, which it really wasn't. It was more of a, I mean, it was a close game, but it wasn't like a gritty, pounded game. It was just a straight up, the Seattle defense is not what it once was. They gave up, I think, 4 separate 80-yard drives to Cam Newton. So it was a pretty wild game. Now here comes the sweat. Here comes why I sleep with constant sadness draped over me. This is why I sleep in a cold, cold closet of despair. This is why I can't have nice things. This is why I can't eat. If I eat spicy food, it's like a volcano. Because I have to ingest, swallow these kind of pills right here. New England, -8.5. Okay, let me try and. My emotions are still high from the game, so I'm gonna try and be cool during the pod. I'm gonna try and be professional. I'm gonna try and be a professional here. And I almost didn't do the podcast because I almost said we don't need to be all emotional. We can't do this. We can't do this. Think rationally after a game like that. But I said, F it. Let's do it anyways. Okay. Was the line inflated? Yes. The line was inflated. But New England still should have beat the hell out of Indianapolis. Even in the game. Did you see the punt play? The fake punt play. How you finna let a team do a fake punt play like that and cover against you? I'm talking about the fake punt play where they had a center, a person receiving the snap, I don't know what you call him. He was under center, but I think he was the punter. And then 15 guys in an illegal formation on the sideline. On 4th and 2 at your own 40. How the Colts did that and still covered is an absolute joke. And to make it even worse, it was a backdoor cover. And to make it even worse, it was about with a minute left. And to make it even worse, the previous series, if the Patriots would have got a first down, the game would have pretty much been over. But instead, they run it 3 straight times for about 4 yards, punt it away, offer no resistance on the next series. Colts drive down, couple of third downs, and Andrew Luck throws a 30-yard touchdown pass to, I don't even remember who it was. Who was he breaking my life? So now I'm wagering my fingers against the Chinese or something. I mean, I'm in a bad spot now. This might be the. If you don't hear from me Friday, well, hell, if you don't hear from me tomorrow at the James Skrmetta Experience tomorrow night, just tell my family I love them. Because I'm on a boat to friggin' Costa Rica or something. So I'm a little hot. Oh, and then guess what I did? I'll tell y'all because we're friends. We're best friends. Before the game, I was like, well, I'll take some props. Little prop bets. Like, oh, this player has this many yards, this many receptions, whatever. Take Julian Edelman. Over 7.5 receptions. Guess how many he had? 6. Guess how many he had in the first half? 5. Okay. That's cool. Gronk. Over under yards. 75. I'll take that. How many do you have? 50. Cool. Cool. We lost every single bet we made on that game. It was 4 of them. It was the props and then 2 bets. One on New England -9.5. One on New England -8.5. So, poo-poo magoo, egg on my face, went 2-2 in the out-of-bound picks. Brings us to a grand total of 19-11 on the year. We have the Giants +5 against Philadelphia tonight. I don't know if I'll be watching or if I'll be evading. If I'll be evading monsters. So that's how I did. Pretty stressed. I don't know if I'll ever be happy again. So cheers to all of you. I hope y'all did better than I did. Now let's try and lighten the mood a little bit. My top 5, my college football top 5. Not a lot changed from last week. Not a lot changed. Top 5 last week was Baylor 1, 2 TCU, LSU was 3, Ohio State was 4, Michigan was 5, made their first appearance. See you, Michigan. You out. My new top 5. Well, it's not my latest edition because it's not totally new. Baylor is still number 1. TCU is number 2. LSU is 3. All the same. Michigan State is 4. And Ohio State, even with a 28-point win against Penn State, dropped to 5 because they were only winning by about 11 with about 6 minutes left, 8 minutes left. Kind of blew it up at the end there. Christian Hackenberg played absolutely terribly. The way I'm looking at college football right now is there is not a dominant team. Baylor is the best team in my opinion because they can score so easily. They literally can score on every play. And they really almost do. They score on almost every single play. And there's not a lot of teams that can do that. And the way college football is made or played now is it's not like you're not going to find like LSU is the best SEC team, but it's not because they have like 18 All-Stars on defense. So a team like Baylor is going to score against LSU, and I don't think LSU can score at the pace that Baylor can. Same with the Michigan State. Or Bama even. If Bama got in with Baylor, I don't think Bama can score with Baylor. Bama looked great against A&M, but Baylor is way better than A&M. Seth Russell, in my opinion, is the best player in the nation. If I had a vote right now for the Heisman, I'd give it to Fournette. But I have a sneaky feeling that at the end of the year, Seth Russell is going to be the Heisman, the man holding the Heisman, not Leonard Fournette. That's a hot take for another day. Let's get to the MLS Minute. I said I wanted the show to be a little shorter, and we should finish about on time here. So let's go into the MLS Minute. Only 3 games on Saturday. Hold on a second. I actually have the scarf this week. Look at this. I have the scarf this week. Oh, that feels nice. That feels fantastic. All right, everyone, play my music. Only 3 games Saturday. 3 games and 5 goals. The first game saw 2 MLS MVP frontrunners square off as Sebastian Giovinco led Toronto FC to face the Columbus Crew. The Crew took advantage of a tired TFC and won 2-0, but at a great cost. Kai Kamara will miss the final match of the season next week due to yellow cards. This means 2 things. The Crew will not have him for their decision day game, which determines seeding in the playoffs, and maybe even most importantly, he will not win the MLS Golden Boot for MVP. Can't happen anymore. He's done. The only 2 people that were in were him and Sebastian Giovinco. But since he can't play in the last game and Sebastian can, and they're tied in goals 22, the next tiebreaker is assist, which Sebastian has. So since Kamara can't play, he can't break the goal tie, and he obviously can't get more assists. So Sebastian Giovinco will be your MLS MVP over Kai Kamara. Kai had a great year, 22 goals, 8 assists. Sebastian will have 22, maybe more, and 15 assists, maybe more in the regular season. The Montreal Impact are peaking at the perfect time, and all because of their stellar defense, actually. They've held opponents scoreless in the last 4 games. Drogba didn't score this game, but Ignacio Piatti sealed the deal for a 1-0 win against New England. In Saturday's finale, FC Dallas clinched the number 1 spot in the West with a 1-0 win over Real Salt Lake. A goal from David Teixeira locked up their regular season title. Congrats. Sunday, 4 games, and get this, 18 goals. That's almost 5 goals a game. 4 games, 18 goals. Are you watching the MLS yet? What's up? What else do you need? What else do you need besides all these goals? DC United is back in a big way. Just ask the Chicago Fire. Goals from Chris Pontius, Bobby Boswell, Fabian Espindola, and Alvaro Saboria sent Chicago home with absolutely nothing. The New York Red Bulls forgot about their loss Wednesday and focused on embarrassing the Philadelphia Union 4-1. The win was huge as it kept New York tied with FC Dallas for first in the Supporters' Shield race, which, yes, is different than the West Championship, so don't think I messed it up because I never do. Houston almost snuck out a cheeky 3 points against the Seattle Sounders, But Obafemi Martins had other plans. Obi Flip's 82nd minute goal helped Seattle salvage 1 point out of the 1-1 contest. Last but certainly not least, Portland made a huge, more than likely season-saving game here. Portland really wants to make the playoffs, and that's good because beating the LA Galaxy 5-2 will certainly do that. Goals from Maximiliano Urruti, Darlington Nagbe, Diego Chara, and a brace from Fernando Addy kept the dream alive for the Timbers, not the Tenders. That's an app that I do not have a lot of success on. Their mission is simple. Draw against Colorado Sunday, and they are in the playoffs. That's it. Draw against Colorado, and Colorado does not win a lot of games. All right. We're almost done here. That is the MLS Minute. What a minute it was. It felt good to have the scarf back on. All right, one more. One more segment here. It's a hot take I have been grilling up. I even told that chump Gunkel about this a couple of weeks ago. And he said, you're not far off, brother. He said, that might be too hot for the general public, but you're not too far off of being dead on. And I said, I don't think I'm dead off at all, sucker. And I also think my audience is smart enough to hear my hot take. So here you go. The hottest of takes. I hinted at this a few weeks ago. Well, we ran out of time on the show, so I shelved it. Put it up on the shelf for another day, and today is that day. Write this down. I did this same kind of thing with Kevin Durant a few years ago. Everyone laughed at me, and I was 100% correct. About 5 years ago at this point, maybe even about 5 years ago, we'll say, I told everyone that Kevin Durant was not a top 10 player in the NBA. And then it came true. I kind of hang my hat on it, as you do. Here it is. Cam Newton is better than Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson. There you go. There you go. Swish it in your mouth. Hold on to it. Kind of do something with it. And then spit it out. Or swallow it. Whatever you want to do. I have stats. All right, I have stats. I'm backing it up with actual statistics. This isn't like ESPN First Take, where I just scream or I just do whatever they do without any factual evidence at all. I actually have some. Here you go. We're gonna go base this on Andrew Luck because it's hard to do with Russell Wilson because he's played less games and it's a big mess. I just threw Wilson in there because he's the guy. He's the other young quarterback, the franchise quote unquote quarterback who you're always hearing about. Andrew Luck has been referenced as like a football god. Okay, people are already putting him in the Hall of Fame. People are already saying could be the best quarterback in the game. People are already comparing him with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. They're already saying Andrew Luck isn't like an idiot savant at quarterback. It's a whole lot of praise. And yes, he's a great player. Yes, I like Andrew Luck, except for tonight when he backdoor covered me. Yes, he's done a lot for the Indianapolis Colts. But he's got some major flaws. And that's turnover problems and amongst a few other things. Here's the stats. Cam. 67 games, 15,504 yards, 90 touchdowns, 58 interceptions. Also, 517 carries, which is a ton of carries for 67 games. For 2,796 yards and 36 touchdowns on the ground. 36 on the ground. He's averaging, it's almost one every 2 games. When Cam came out of college, he had the problem of it's his attitude, he's cocky, he's arrogant. Even though he's never really displayed any kind of negative, he's a lot like LeBron James, right? LeBron James gets he's cocky, he's arrogant. People mix that up with being great and being a winner, and they mix those two up a lot. Like LeBron James has a terrible reputation with a lot of people, a lot of haters, but he's never actually done anything. It's weird, right? Like, what has LeBron James done negatively, off the court or on the court? He's flopped, maybe. That's it. Off the court, he's done nothing. Same with Cam Newton. Off the court, what's he done? Nothing. So as far as the mental part of it, as part of him being a leader and all that stuff, there's no true knock on Cam Newton. Think about who he's playing with. Cast of characters. Bunch of nobodies. Ted Ginn Jr., Greg Olson's literally his only player. Imagine if he was on the Bills. With that kind of defense, with LaShawn McCoy, Sammy Watkins, Percy Harvin, the Bills would win the Super Bowl. Imagine if he was on the Broncos, fam. The best defense in the NFL, Demaryius Thomas, all these players. And they have noodle arm, Peyton Manning can't throw the ball. Cam Newton would make that team the best team in the NFL and a Super Bowl winner. If he wasn't stuck on Carolina, he more than likely would already have a ring. Now, Andrew Luck. This is Andrew Luck's real stats. 51 games, so he's played one less season than Cam Newton. He has 13,710 passing yards, 91 touchdown passes with 50 interceptions. That's including a 40 touchdown season. So one of his seasons was almost half of his total touchdowns. He also has 203 rushes for 970 yards and 12 touchdowns. So to compare them, we have to add another year for Andrew Luck. So he did some averaging from all of Luck's years. From his other years, we built one average season of his. And it turns out to make his totals like this. If he played 67 games like Cam Newton did, he would have 17,532 yards, about 2,000 more than Cam, 114 touchdowns, about 20 more than Cam, 59 picks, with 1,347 yards on the ground, almost less than 1,500 than Cam, and 16 touchdowns, 20 less than Cam. If you put the numbers together, they almost had identical amount of touchdowns created. Obviously, a lot of Cams are on the ground, and Andrew Luck's are through the air. The yards, there's a 2,000 yard difference, but there's also a 1,400 yard difference on the ground. So I mean, you look at those two contrasts, it is not that different. Cam Newton is not that far off from Andrew Luck. And you never ever hear him mentioned in the same breath. You never ever hear him as like, Cam Newton's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Some people, I want to say in the ESPN rankings for quarterbacks, Cam was like 22 or something. It was crazy. He was below like Joe Flacco and Eli Manning. Cam Newton not only is above those guys, he's above the Russell Wilsons. He's above, in my opinion, it's Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and probably Cam Newton. Unless I'm just completely forgetting about somebody. But I mean, who else is it? It's usually Peyton Manning, but it's damn sure not this year. And I mean, the other winning teams, like Ben Roethlisberger, I wouldn't put him in the top 3. Andy Dalton, I wouldn't put him in the top 3. Andrew Luck, he's probably in the top 5. Russell Wilson's probably up there. So, I mean, Cam Newton is a legit threat. Like, Drew Brees usually up there, but he's taking steps back. And Cam Newton is a legit threat to be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL behind Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. His career, because he was the first overall pick. And a lot of people kind of juggle with the idea of, like, well, was he worth a pick? Is he this? Not only is he worth the pick, but he's one of the best players in the league, making the playoffs, getting deep into the playoffs, taking a team full of nobodies in Carolina and making them a threat, going to Seattle, beating Russell Wilson in Seattle. Cam Newton is not getting enough credit at all, and this show is going to be the first show to stand up and say, let's give Cam Newton some freaking credit. Let's give Cam Newton the credit he deserves. If you don't believe that he's better than Andrew Luck, if you don't believe he's better than Russell Wilson, fine. That's just my hot take. But at least believe that he's at least a top 6 quarterback in the league. At least let's try and wipe away this whole, like, Cam Newton, better college player, more of a runner. He can't do that in the NFL. Can't do that. He has 517 carries in 67 games. That is crazy town. Crazy town, the amount of carries that is for a quarterback in the NFL. That's a lot of carries for a person in college. His average number is 10 carries a game. So Cam Newton shouldering the load in Carolina. We're giving him some credit. Cam Newton, hot take, better than Andrew Luck, better than Russell Wilson. We'll end the show there. We are running up against the clock. I wanted this to go short, but of course it does not. I try and break this into two 30-minute shows. I think we do a pretty good job of keeping it close to 30 minutes. Sometimes we go over, sometimes we go under, but one day we'll be able to stretch this bad boy out to 5 days a week. We just got to pick our shots, get there, and it's all due to y'all. The more people listen, the more that y'all listen, the more reason for me to do this, and the more this gets out there, the better chance of us both winning. I save you from whatever garbage the sports radio is giving y'all. Go flip on the sports radio station. Listen to them for 30 minutes, and then listen to me for 30 minutes, and tell me which one you'd rather come on in your speakers, in your car, every single day. Don't forget to download on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, check out JamesSkrmetta.com, guys. Enjoy your week. I know Mondays are tough, but don't worry, Friday is getting closer, I promise. I'm your host, James Skrmetta, and this has been another episode of Out of Bounds. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great week.